I have a question for you. When was the last time you had a conversation that actually gave you energy instead of draining it? I'm talking about one of those conversations where time seems to disappear. You look at your watch, and suddenly 2 hours have passed. You feel seen. You feel understood. You walk away feeling lighter. Now, compare that to your daily reality. How are you? Good. You? Good. Crazy weather we're having. Yeah, lots of rain. Well, have a good one. That is small talk. It is the styrofoam of social interaction. It is filler. It takes up space, but it has no weight and no substance. And if you are like most people, you probably hate. We often hear people say, I hate small talk. I only want deep conversations. But here is the problem. You cannot just walk up to a stranger and ask, what is your biggest regret in life? Or, do you think you are living up to your potential? If you do that, you don't look deep. You look insane. Small talk is necessary. It is the entry ramp to the highway. But the tragedy is that most of us get stuck on the ramp. We drive around in circles, talking about the weather and our jobs, and we never actually merge onto the highway of real connection. So today, I want to give you the map. I want to show you exactly how to bridge the gap. We are going to break down the specific techniques to transition from polite, surface-level chatter to deep, meaningful connection without making it awkward. The first thing you need to understand is the what to why shift. Small talk is almost entirely based on what. What do you do? What did you do this weekend? What is your major? These are factual questions. They yield factual answers. Facts are safe, but facts are boring. To move deep, you have to pivot from what to why or how. Let's look at a classic example. You ask someone, what do you do for work? They say, I'm an accountant. Now, the small talk response is, oh, cool. How long have you done that? That keeps you in the shallow end. The deep dive response looks for the motivation and the emotion. You could say, that's interesting. Did you always know you wanted to do numbers, or did you kind of fall into it? Do you see the difference? The first question asks for a number on a calendar. The second question asks for their origin story. Or let's say they tell you, I went to Italy last summer. Small talk asks, what cities did you visit? Deep talk asks, what was the one moment from that trip that you still think about? When you ask for a specific moment, or a feeling, or a motivation, you are signaling to the other person, I am not interested in your resume. I am interested in you. The second technique is what I call the vulnerability offering. There is a psychological principle called reciprocity. If I hand you a gift, you feel a primitive urge to give me something back. The same is true for emotional depth. If you stay guarded and polite, the other person will stay guarded and polite. If you want them to open the door to their real self, you have to knock first. You have to give them a piece of yourself. Let's go back to the most common, boring question on earth. How are you? We are programmed to say good. But if you want to transition to a deep conversation, break the script. Give them a micro disclosure. If they ask, how are you? Try saying, honestly, I'm a little stressed today. I've been trying to finish this project and it's kicking my butt. But I'm happy to be out of the house. How are you doing? Notice what happened there. You didn't dump your trauma on them. You didn't make it heavy. You just admitted a real human emotion, stress. By doing that, you just gave them permission to be real too. You lowered the shield. Now, instead of saying, I'm good, they might say, I feel you. I've been incredibly busy too. And boom. Now you aren't talking about being good. You are talking about burnout. You are talking about work-life balance. You are in a real conversation. The third key to this transition is listening for the hook. In every mundane sentence people speak, there is usually a tiny hook, a word that is emotionally charged, that they are leaving dangling for you to grab. If someone says, yeah, work is fine, but I'm just really looking forward to the weekend. I need to get back to my painting. The small talker hears, work is fine. The deep talker hears, painting. That is the hook. That is where the passion lives. You ignore the work part. You grab the hook. You say, "Wait, you paint? What kind of painting? Is that just a hobby or is that your secret passion?" People light up when you ask them about the things they love. Their eyes change. Their voice changes. The energy in the room shifts. But here is the catch. To get to deep conversation, you have to be comfortable with something that scares most people: silence. Deep questions require processing time. If I ask you, what is the most important lesson you learned from your father? You can't answer that in half a second. You need to think. You need to look up at the sky. You need a moment. In small talk, silence is awkward. In deep talk, silence is respect. When you ask a good question and the other person goes quiet, do not panic. Do not rush to fill the void. Let them think. Hold the space. That silence is the sound of them going deep. And finally, if you want to have deep conversations, you have to replace judgment with curiosity. The quickest way to kill a deep conversation is to make the other person feel judged. If they open up and say, "I really believe in ghosts," and you roll your eyes and say, "That's unscientific," the door slams shut. You are done. You don't have to agree with them, but you have to be curious about why they believe it. Really? That's fascinating. Did you have an experience that convinced you? Curiosity is the fuel of connection. Judgment is the brake. Now, I want to address a fear I know you have. You are thinking, what if I try this and it gets weird? What if I ask a deep question and they look at me like I'm crazy? It might happen. Some people are just not ready to go deep. Some people are guarded, and that is okay. If you try to pivot to a deeper topic and they give you a one-word answer, just pivot back. Retreat to safety. You haven't lost anything. You just tested the water, and it was too cold. But more often than not, you will find that people are starving for this. We are all walking around, trapped in our own heads, desperate to be understood. We are tired of talking about the rain. We are tired of pretending everything is fine. People want to be asked the real questions. They want to tell you about their dreams, their fears, and their theories on the universe. They are just waiting for someone brave enough to ask. So, here is your challenge for the next time you are in a social setting. Do not settle for the script. When you feel yourself slipping into the autopilot mode of, "Where are you from?" and "What do you do?" catch yourself. Stop. Listen. Find the hook. Ask why instead of what. Share a little bit of your own truth. And look at the person in front of you, not as a stranger to be managed, but as a mystery to be solved. Because the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships. And the quality of your relationships is determined by the quality of your conversations. Small talk is just the doorway. It's time to walk through it.